Hello and welcome to today's podcast. Today we have with us.
Ben.
Bonnie.
Coulda.
In today's podcast, we're going to have more of a serious topic of conversation. After the death of George Floyd and the many others, who I hope may rest in peace, we've come to a time where now it's just not enough to be not racist, but we have to be anti-racist and against it. In this podcast, we'll be talking about this, and if people are comfortable, obviously, you're allowed to share your own experiences with racism in your life. But before we start, I'd like to say we're going to be leaving different ways that you can support the Black Lives Matter movement. We'll be leaving links in the description, so please click and support in any way you can. I'll also be leaving likes and comments off because I don't want this to seem like a way to make the channel bigger or anything. It's just we just wanted to get our voice heard and out there, even with our small community. It's just a nice way that we can share our thing and show our support for it. Even though the riots are mainly and protests are mainly in the US, it's also important for everyone to know that we suffer from this in the UK, and it is also a problem in many other countries. So, have any of you got anything to say about this matter?
I think it's beautiful to see everyone uniting.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I'm just very disappointed though with the amount of people I'm seeing taking this as a joke or using it as a chance to be funny.
Yeah, I think people might not realize how big this whole thing is, but this is probably the biggest racial event that's happened since the civil rights.
Yeah.
It's a very big thing.
And that's it's not to say that it's the worst one to happen, but it's the biggest one that's happened since then.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's just because obviously going through social media now, you're seeing all these people supporting it, but now it's nice to see all these people getting outed for being racist, because I don't think they realise how much it affects us, because they think it's just a funny joke to them, because you've seen people doing blackface because they think it's funny. You've seen people going hashtag George Floyd challenge, and I think that's disgusting.
Yeah.
What is that? I don't want to know.
It's just people thinking it's funny if they put someone down on the floor and then putting their knee down on their neck going hashtag George Floyd challenge. I haven't seen it in the UK, but I have seen people on Snapchat doing it in America, and I just think it's absolutely disgusting people doing something like that.
Yeah, that's mad, man.
I just think to put your energy into doing something like that when you could have done literally anything else, and to put it out there, it's just okay.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't take 2 seconds to record a video or take a picture, edit it, put it up online. You're really taking your time with it and you're thinking about it, thinking it through, and you didn't have that forethought to be like, oh, nah, I shouldn't post this. But
yeah, 100%.
I think what's even made me more disgusted is the police in America, especially the way they're acting. Because some people just peacefully protesting. And I saw a video today of people in Dallas who were having a peaceful protest, and the police led them onto a bridge, saying you can't go here because this area's got the curfew, and they led them onto a bridge. But they ended up both sides, the police covered them and sandwiched them sort of in, and just chucked flashbangs, tear gas, rubber, and was shooting them with rubber bullets. And I thought that was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. If it's a peaceful protest, why are you using force and violence against them? Because if it was this is not the first protest America had in the last 30 days, innit? They've had the other protests, but why is this particular subject? Are you now getting? If it's peaceful, why are you now using flashbangs and all of those? Except force.
All the people that were protesting about the lockdown, they weren't getting flashbang.
Yeah. I think, honestly, the problem with right now is the fact that the Donald Trump's done nothing. He said nothing. And what he has done is made like statements like, "Oh, when the looting starts, the shooting starts," which is like a statement they used to use um, before the Civil Rights Acts that incited violence and was indicative of like black people getting shot up protests. And he's also introduced like the curfew instead of actually being like, okay, yeah, let's get justice or do something. There's not been no action. He's only just been ignoring and like pushing the actual topic aside and not addressing it.
Yeah, he hasn't fully came out and had a public state of address to say
Yeah,
something to everyone and be like, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to move forward with this.
yeah.
And I'll say he's gone wrong there. That's definitely where he's gone wrong.
Haven't
Now
even
people
said,
are more
yeah,
divided. People, there won't be a unity if he doesn't come out and try and unite.
yeah. He hasn't tried to unite.
Yeah.
He's just divided it.
Trust.
But I think the one good news that has actually come out of it is the fact that the 4 police officers that were involved with the murder of George Floyd have been arrested now.
Yeah,
But
good.
it's still not first degree.
Yeah,
Which
They've been all put for. Derek Chauvin was put in for second degree murder, and then the rest were all put in for aiding and abetting murder, second degree murder.
yeah, I think I think it's first degree because the guy was passed out for 3 minutes. I mean, if someone's asleep and you're
Yeah.
lying on top of them, you can feel that. You'll know when someone's asleep. So if you stay on top of them for another 3 minutes, it's just you've decided to do that now. There's nothing fighting you back, and you just decided to basically kill that guy. So
yeah. Like it didn't like for me. It's like it's therefore premeditated aim to like cause something. Because if the guy's saying he's not breathing and you still have his knee on there, is that not premeditated? Like you're making a conscious act to keep doing what you're doing, you know? Like
yeah, and this is the thing that it was phoned in that he was using a fake bill or something, but really it was real money that he was using, and he ended up getting stopped for that and ended up getting killed for that, even though he was trying to pay with real money, but the store clerk thought it was fake money.
that's so sad, bro.
So
Like
he really didn't even commit any infringement at all. It all could have been cleared up if it was a conversation instead of violence that ensued.
yeah, man was just going about his day, you know,
Yeah,
like trying to get back home to his family. Like I must have seen the video of his daughter. He had his daughter on his shoulders, and she was saying, "Oh, like daddy's gonna change the world. Daddy changed the world." And I'm like, "Damn right, he has. Like, he
yeah,
is."
But there's also the issue of not just racism in the US. It's more prominent there, and it's more obvious because obviously now it's all getting filmed. We're seeing all the police brutality they're doing to people. But we can't. The US isn't the only place we can touch on. We do have to speak about other countries too, because there's like countries like, for example, last year in Italy when what was it? That striker, I can't remember his name, scored for Juventus, and then all the teams from the other clubs started doing monkey chants at him, calling him the N word. And you've got places like Russia who refuse to let black people play. Like they're against it. And me even being part Polish, like my parents have had to worry about me going into certain areas of Poland because they're worried about the racism there because Poland isn't exactly known as a country that isn't racist either.
Yeah, it's sad, man.
No, and I think it's terrible that we've had to come to a time where we have to where people actually now have to go on the internet and look up how racist an area is or something if they want to go there.
Yeah. Like I think what it is like people they have not enough has gone into actual like educating. Like this should be something that's race should be a subject at school. Like hear me out, like because obviously as kids you're gonna see black white, you're not gonna associate anything with it. But then as you grow up, if no one told you different and you fall in the wrong crowd and you form all this like stereotypes and that, you're not gonna you're gonna grow up with certain whatever, and you're gonna see stuff, and it's gonna be like, okay, those people actually like this and this and this. Whereas if you're actually taught in schools that race isn't like a thing, and you're taught histories of all different kinds of people, and you realize now that okay, we're the same. Like stuff like this just would not happen as much.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think if you haven't educated yourself before what's happening now, now is the time to start educating yourself on these matters and Black people's history, like what's happened in their past.
But I'm with Bonnie. I think it should start from ages like I would say primary school. It shouldn't you shouldn't like tell them what or racism is bad or try like tell them that, but don't like it shouldn't be like a forced subject. It should be something that brings unity, not something that's made to make you feel like it's a bad thing.
Yeah,
Like if you're gonna teach little kids that everyone's the same, just make it that way yourself as the teacher. Make it that everyone is the same, and then you won't have to worry about that. And I think from growing up in Liverpool, like looking at it from when I was in primary school, things then people no one was really thinking about race in primary school. No one even really knew what that was all about. But once you got to like year 7, year 8 and onwards, people start seeing different things, start watching different things, and then you'll watch certain movies, people say certain things, you see what older people are saying, and then now everyone's trying to copy that and say that. And it's like if you're in an area where it's not many Black people around, not many minorities around, most of the time people get very comfortable to say certain things to you, say racial slurs to you, when you know that it wouldn't fly if, let's say, there were a lot of minorities here. They wouldn't say these same words.
yeah,
So it's little things like that.
Yeah, it's all about education. People need to be more educated, man.
100%.
Because in school you don't really get educated about it. Like it's how your parents educate you.
Yeah.
And if they've got bad views, then
Yeah,
more time the child has.
While being in school, when there was ever a Black History Month, I only remember like one lesson being ever taught on Black History Month. Nothing else.
Yeah.
I learned zero Black history apart from slavery.
Well, I
They,
had one
From school.
history lesson in Black History Month about Black history, and that was it.
Yeah,
So, like, I don't get how people expect, like, for example, adults or teachers. I don't know how they expect kids to be educated on things if they're not educating them, because that's their job. They're meant to be educating their students
yeah,
on what's going on, and if you're not educating them,
100. It's
And
like
the worst thing is they'll be getting what's educating all these young people about Black people will be what they see on the news, what their parents are saying. If their parents have negative views about a certain race, that's the only thing they'll hear from.
yeah,
So that's the only thing they'll know from, and they won't know any better.
trust. Like the crazy thing is that racism, like, is just it's part of our society. Like you literally, I don't even believe there can be a world without racism because it's like
yeah, no, I don't think racism
it's
is going to go anytime soon.
yeah, like it's part. It's literally how you say you meet someone like, or for example, like I walk into a place, like you can bet, oh, like I'm gonna get, or like, or someone like you just go into a place where you're a minority or whatever, you're definitely gonna get comments about what makes it different. Like
I've had it times when I've
Yeah.
walked I've had it happen to me once. I've walked into a shop and I've actually been followed around the whole entire shop by a worker there.
Yeah.
All I've been in there was just to buy some sweets.
yeah, that's
yeah,
crazy, bro.
like I can't speak on racism, but like I know that when I've been in club with like you guys, like you'll be like Sim and that they'll be like, oh, you go first, innit? So we can get in and stuff. And I just feel like that's just fucked, bro.
That shouldn't be like.
Trust.
It's like with what's going on now. Like I'm pretty sure it's all of everyone here. We all play basketball. So like one of our things is we want to go America, go watch an NBA game like once in our life.
Not in Texas.
But it's like now with everything I've seen in America, like even before this, if I'm being honest, I want to go. Maybe I want to go like Disneyland in America too. I'm honestly too scared to go. If I'm being
Yeah.
honest with what's going on, I'm too
It
scared.
actually, for real, it's actually a real fair because you're like, it could happen.
Yeah.
It could happen. And
It's even worse for like our parents because they always have to be like making sure we're okay where we're going because it's like no parent should have to fear for their child going on just like a normal holiday.
yeah,
And it sucks to know that obviously I've had my parents call me and be like, "You sure you want to go there? I've heard this and this, and you're gonna
yeah,
have to be very safe." Like no parent should have to worry about their kids having like racism done against them.
100. It's kind of like you have to be smart in it because like there's certain areas, certain places like you go to like you you won't enjoy it. Like the chances of you enjoying are very slim compared to the chances of something happening. Like
Yeah.
it's like you won't catch me like going like you won't catch me in no redneck areas, for example, because I know that I'm asking for trouble. That's how
Yeah.
that's just how it is, isn't it? Like
But it could just be that you just want to check out that area and see what it's like.
yeah, for
But
real,
you know
like
yourself, you're probably going to encounter
yeah,
something that's going to be very negative racially towards you.
trust. It's just not safe. Like
Yeah, the UK is not it's not exempt from all these racism.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely not.
it's a different kind here as well. Like
Yeah.
it's a like in the UK, if you're black, you're either gonna be seen as like okay, cool, or you're either gonna be like oh, just another black person. In the sense of like you're either gonna have your stereotypes amplified in positive ways, or you're gonna have your stereotypes amplified in negative ways.
Yeah.
Like you wear a hood, whatever, like oh, okay, trapper, like all those.
Yeah.
It's just how it is here, isn't it? And it's natural. that's
It's terrible.
that's just how it is.
Again with the hood thing, like it's happened to me. I've walked into a shop wearing a hood. Someone else, I don't know them. They've walked in the shop wearing a hood, but I was told to take off mine just because they were worried that there's been some robberies in the area. They're like, so we need to take off your hood. But the other person was fine wearing his hood around the shop. Didn't get told off or anything. And
Yeah.
don't get why I was any different to him. Like it's raining outside. I've just come into the shop.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like I remember one time I was going to my confirmation and I had to walk it. And I'm walking to Sacred Heart. That's where I had it. And I get off the bus and I'm walking and I go across this balcony. And bear in mind I'm young, like I was under 16, I think. And there's this is under the balcony. So I'm walking, jamming to my music, and I hear shouting in it. So I'm like, oh, what's that? I want to hear it. Take off my earphones and like I'm listening, and I just hear you look like an ape. Turn around and this bunch of dons on a balcony in it, and these are grown ass people. In it. I'm still a kid, like, and like he actually made me best. I had to go inside the shop and pretend I was getting chewing gum because I didn't want to like tear up on the street, fam.
Yeah. This is the thing. You're a young kid, and you got to deal with something like that, and you got to try and deal with it in a way where they don't see you, like they don't want to attack you even more, or you're trying to deal with it in a way where you can get away as quickly as possible. So it's just like,
I'm just still trying to not seem like weak or whatever, like trying to seem unaffected by it, fam.
But it's affected you because you end up the next few days, even rest of your life, probably you can think back to that moment and be like,
There's going to be a moment that's always going to be in your brain, like it's not something you're going to forget easily.
I had a similar moment like that. So I was walking home and someone shouted, "Oi, you nigger," from the balcony, and I just from that day on, I think I was in year 4. I was just like, nah, I'm not walking this way home ever again. And I ended up taking the long way home every time from that moment on.
Yeah, it's honestly so crazy. It's like growing up, you literally have to learn to just ignore it, innit?
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be a case. That's the thing.
Yeah, 100%. It should.
You should be having to be like, oh, ha ha, laugh it off, or something like, oh, I'm just going to ignore it. This shouldn't be what's happening.
Yeah, it shouldn't. 100%.
It's tapped.
I just like it to see more people make an effort and change. Gladly, I'm hoping. I'm not sure if you haven't said anything or not. We haven't actually had any encounters with the police during our time. I'm not sure if you guys have. I personally haven't.
I ain't gonna speak.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Only speak what you're comfortable about. But in my time, I'm happy. I'm glad to say that I haven't had any problems with police over something that I haven't done. Like police going, oh, there's been things in the area. You've matched the description. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, never me, but I've been with people who've been in those situations, and you're thinking how have you even the cause of the officer coming up to them is there's no way what you're saying is what led you here to this line of questioning.
Yeah.
It's chat shit.
Yeah,
I feel, but like I was saying earlier, I feel like if people who are listening don't understand what's going on, now's perfect chance to educate yourself. You've got shows on Netflix, for example. There's many shows on there you can educate yourself with. Watch those. There's even honestly music that you can listen to help you educate yourself on these things.
I feel it has been making a difference because not even a week ago I got a message from someone I went to school with. I'm not gonna say his name, but they sent me a message and they were basically saying they were apologizing for things they said when we were younger growing up that they didn't realize were racist, but they were saying now they've had time to reflect on it, they realize it was, and they were actually apologizing, and it took me back. I was I did not expect this from you, and and it felt good. I was yeah, it just felt good, just felt good seeing something like that.
Yeah, and to see someone who you thought wouldn't change has actually changed, that it's a good feeling, good thing to see.
Yeah, for real.
And I'm glad the protests and stuff are finally happening, because now we are actually seeing change in a lot of people, and also finally seeing the real colours of some others.
But I'm not down with the whole looting business, though.
No, of course not. Yeah. I don't agree with that. I don't even. If I'm being honest, I don't actually. In my opinion, I don't agree with the violent protests either. I don't believe it. I'm personally one of those people that doesn't believe. I don't think violence is the answer to anything.
Yeah, let's keep it a buck. Martin Luther King.
I don't think people
promoted peaceful protests. He wasn't messing with violence like that.
And especially for me, I wouldn't really necessarily mind the violence depending on where it's attacking, because a lot of the people are just attacking shops to loot things that they want. And some of the shops they're looting, these are black-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, even white-owned businesses. These are people who may be for or may not be for the cause, but you're still stealing their livelihood. Yet these people could be people that are trying to help in this situation. So it's if you're gonna direct violence to anything, it should be towards the government, not towards other regular people who have, a small business, a small shop, and you're stealing everything they've got. I just don't see how that's gonna help anything.
And as well, the cops that are getting attacked, for example, people because not all cops are like that. People are attacking cops.
There are some police officers that are helping protests. I saw one where a police officer was speaking to someone, and they were telling him, they were like, "Oh, I understand that you agree with what we're doing and you're okay with it, but your police officers over there have said that they're not okay with this and have been trying to silence us. And he went, oh no, I know that. That's why I told him to shut up and go away. I even saw a police chief recently who said that if you believe what happened with George Floyd, that violence, that level of violence is okay when arresting someone. I want you to turn in your badge immediately. And I even saw another police officer who was like, I don't want this to become a violent protest, but I want to protest with you guys, and had all these officers put down their weapons and they protested with the people in that area. So not all officers are bad, but the officers that are bad it's just too many.
Yeah. And it's because those other officers that are good per se let those officers like get away with it. Like that guy who stood on Floyd's neck. Like if you look at his thing, he's been involved in so many other incidents. Like he shot.
I think it was he had like 12 misconduct charges against him.
Yeah, like so many, and they were all serious. Like like it's not the first time he's killed someone.
Yeah. But this is just the first time he's been caught on tape.
Yeah.
And now this is what happens.
But like I was saying earlier, all these protests are making a difference. For example, I don't want to botch her name, but there was like Breonna Taylor, I think that's how her name said. And she was killed in her own house. And with all these protests and everyone calling for the police to them to re-look into the investigation, they didn't do anything to the police officers that did it. But the FBI have said they've reopened the case, and also it's looking like the police don't actually believe their own officers about what they said.
Yeah, man, America's just crazy. Like they don't care about they don't care about their minorities. Like they care about what they bring to the table. Like for example, the sports, the economy, and that. But in terms of their actual welfare and like them getting justice for them, they don't care. Like lynching still isn't even a hate crime. They haven't recognized that. They haven't like reimbursed like African Americans over there for like slavery and none of that. Like they ain't done none of that, and they've had how many years to do it?
There's been many calls there for reparations, like what happened in South Africa, but that still hasn't happened.
Yeah,
and it's just
crazy.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it.
Trust. Have you guys had like this thing called the Dole test?
No.
It's like so a bunch of black children were like go into a room as like an experiment, and they were shown a white doll and a black doll, and they asked the black kids, which doll do you think is most attractive? Which doll is like the best doll? Which doll would you like? Questions like that, and like most of the kids end up having to leave because they were like so upset because they answered as the white doll was the better doll, so the better looking, all of that stuff. Like, and it just shows that the problem is the fact that it's embedded into society. Like it's the subconscious things. It's it's like the colorism. That's like people should research on that. It's like the stereotypes. It's like so many things that like you're just embedded in society, and that's what, if racism is to like go away, that's what needs to actually be targeted. Because if you can get rid of that, then you get rid of the organizations, like because then the leaders of those organizations aren't gonna be like biased or racist.
Yeah. You need to break down all of these like mental barriers that people have that have been just ingrained in their minds about things.
For real.
And people like know what's going on. Like, I've seen videos that like, ask a crowd like of white people, put your hand up if you want to be treated like how black people are, and like no one puts their hands up, and like people know what's going on, but then nothing's being done about it.
Yeah. And like
everyone's got to remember though, like as much as we're saying all this about America this, America that, we've got to remember it's not just America that's suffering these problems. They're the ones being brought to light the most, but it's definitely it's everywhere. Let's be honest, it's everywhere.
100% is everywhere. Right, right now we just use America as an example because obviously
That's the most important, but it is everywhere. And unfortunately, I don't like saying this, but it's going to be racism is always going to be a problem.
Yeah. As a minority, it's always going to be a problem. I can't see enough people. Never enough. I can't see the world changing to the point where like anyone can walk into a room of different people and not have like the on people's heads be like, oh, he's or she's like a certain color.
Yeah, as long as there's spots in places where people are uneducated, there's always going to be a level of prejudice in those areas, and then that will just lead to just racism in all those areas.
Yeah.
And you know what's mad? Like a lot of the problems stem from like the British Empire. Now we don't even learn about it in history. Like,
trust me. Like no one like when we talk about Alexandria or whatever people discovered this, they don't say that they went over there and like destroyed the history, destroyed the society, implemented like they don't mention that.
So you never hear about the kings and queens that were in Africa at the time.
You don't.
About the history of how people in Western Africa ended up being where they were, and how they ended up having what they had. Yeah,
100, man. That's what Black history should be doing. Like,
yeah.
The craziest thing is our history in general is African history has been like so wiped out that the only way you can really get it is if you go back to the countries themselves, like, and then ask people there, or like people have put it up on on the internet. But if you go into a school and ask like a history teacher, oh, can you tell me about the history of Africa? They're going to mention slavery is the first thing they're going to say.
Yeah, and that's the first thing you learn about, and it's like, can we not be taught more things about it? Because what do we learn about the Greeks? We learn about the ancient Greeks, the Romans before Christ,
the flipping Vikings.
Yeah, but you're not going to tell me anything about what happened to this continent or this continent.
Even Genghis Khan, like all of them guys, maybe an African warlord that we all know, like from the old, like there's no one, bro.
Not one, not a single one.
Well, also I'd say school. There's a lot of problems in schools though, because even though you wouldn't, let's say, there's been on Twitter, schools are being now outed for racism and stuff like that, like teachers in schools and stuff like that. Even like we're not gonna, obviously we're not gonna name names or anything, but like I was taught by one of the teachers that were outed on there. I was taught by him. He was outed for being racist. I'd say I was in one of his lessons and he had a 10. Honestly, I've seen him tell off, when it came to telling off people in class, I had 4 friends in the back, all black, and I'd never see him tell off anyone but them for every lesson. They'd sit there being silent doing their work, and they'd still get told off.
Yeah. Bruh. Like, we all know this one RE teacher, who didn't like black people. Used to send all the black kids out, and then she went over to St. Barnard's, and she didn't like my sister very much. She ended up banning her from the canteen, bro.
Wow. No, there was one of the teachers in our school who used a racist term, and they suspended her only for a week. But didn't tell anyone she was suspended. Just said she was off with migraines. Came back and used the same racist term again, and of course they had to kick her out at that point. But the fact they even let a teacher come back after using a racist term, and then she comes back and uses it again is disgusting.
Yeah.
And they tried to cover it up.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like schools, the high school, is when we experience, like, socially, you experience the most racism. Because that's when you're actually,
I
like...
mean, the thing is, there's not a lot you could do back then. Well, if any racism I experienced, I saw my friends experience, you'd say something to them, to the person doing it, but it didn't stop them. They'd do it again. They didn't see anything with it, and it just had to reach a point where, as much as you told them off, you just laughed. You just had to laugh it off.
For me, there was this one time. It was, I think it was year 8, and it was, this guy was just saying the N word all the time, and then he gets caught by a teacher saying, like, he'll say it to me and about me, even when I wasn't there. And he got caught one time by a teacher, and then everyone started, the people that were around him, because they were trying to disassociate from that. They didn't want to be known, like, with him, because he was now in big trouble. He ends up with the head of learning, and the head of learning, like, calls me in to say what would I like to be done about the situation. And I could have got him expelled, I could have got him at least suspended, but I just said I don't want anything to be done. And I look back on it, I'm like, I may have made a mistake, because the guy didn't change. He didn't learn his lesson. But if I look at it, if I was under the fear of, if I'm the one who says I want him to get suspended, and he gets suspended, and now I've got everyone else in the year who I know there's a lot of other people who say it too, even if it's not to my face, but there's a lot of people who say it too, and now I've gotten someone suspended. There will be a certain look towards me that I wouldn't want, and I'm just trying to get through the years and do my year and finish. So it's like, I just chose to take an option which I knew not really the best option, but my choices weren't really. I didn't have many choices in the situation.
It's the fact that you feel like you could end up ruining someone's education as well.
Yeah, the school should have.
But
just suspended
it should have been the school going, right, he's running around saying the N word.
And this is the thing, he got detention for it, but that was about it. And then it was over by the end of the week. It's moved on. Everyone's moved on from it. Head of learning doesn't come check up and be like, oh, how have you been? Has there been any other incidents? Nah.
Yeah, but
after that week, it was just
shouldn't have been your decision to decide what happens to him. That should have been a school's decision.
Yeah, that's so bad that they put it on you.
Look, your son's going around saying the N word. We've got to take action about this. Not asking you what you want done to him.
That's putting you on this. Low-key, that I can already tell there must have been hella problems in that school with race.
There were problems with pretty much everything in that school. In the early stages, it was bad.
And you're young at this point, like, I think you should have the power to, like, control.
This is what I was saying. I'm just there trying to make friends and get through school, but now I've got this situation on my hands. I don't know. After that, there wasn't. I didn't get much other comments or problems like that after that. But in that situation, I thought maybe, like, I didn't do right by myself. That's why I keep thinking about it. I just did right by the situation so I could get by with the situation. But
but you know what? That decision you made there was ultimately the better one, because what better way to destroy hate than with love, innit?
Yeah, and this is the thing. Yeah, that's what I was thinking at the time. It's just, is it worth it to do what he's done back, to throw out hatred out there? It's just not. There's no need for that.
Yeah, and like, you're right. You do that, you become hated.
Yeah.
There's even other things, like, for example, when I'm pretty sure everyone did this. We all studied Mice of Men.
Yeah.
I think, like, some of the worst times is when you're seeing kids, like, running up, going, when they see a page that has the M word on it, they'd be like running up, go, oh, yeah, I want to read this page just because it has the M word so they can say it in a way that no one will get in any trouble and stuff like that, which again is disgusting. Like, why are you so excited to say the N word? Like, what's the joy from it? It's I'm trying to study. It's in the you understand it's in the book, but you don't need to be running up to the teacher going, "Oh yeah, let me read this page. Let me read this page." And then they'll read the page, say the word, and then they'll be like, "Yeah, I don't want to read it anymore." It's literally just so they could say the N word in a safe space.
I literally can't imagine a situation where you could feel smaller in a classroom than being like the only one or two like black people in the classroom, and then a situation and that comes up and you're like powerless.
But because
it's the looks. It's like you're sitting there and you know people are gonna turn around and look at you when the page is coming up.
Trust me.
And then the lines are about to come up. Now more people are turning around and looking,
waiting for the reaction.
And you can also see it in their face. Like, they're not doing it because they're like enjoying the book or anything. They're saying it because they want
a reaction.
Want the reaction. They want to say the word
in front of you.
Yeah.
And you know what? Of all the books of Mice and Men, they have to pick the one where the black guy is like crooks, man. And no disrespect to crooks, obviously, like he's real. But come on, like of all the books that you're gonna have kids read, you're gonna have the one book where there's a black person, and you're gonna have him be like a servant, fam. Or like
and the amount of times I heard people get called crooks.
Yeah, no, after it's all like racist jokes. That's just like it's not gonna. Things aren't gonna change with stuff like that.
Yeah, like you have to call it out. Like even me being white, like I know like when there's no black people around, people can still be racist, like behind their backs and stuff. But you have to call that stuff out. Yeah. It's the only way that stuff's gonna change.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Because if you'd come into school and like the first time someone had said like something with like racist connotation towards me, and I'd said something and like I actually had people backing me saying you can't say that, it would have been I would have been like, oh okay, like I have to accept it. I would have been like, I can actually fight against this. Like it would definitely been different, man.
This is what they say about the silence. When people around just are silent about it, there's nothing you can do really because you're just one voice.
Yeah.
So if you say something and no one else speaks up to help you out, then it's not gonna it's not gonna help you, and it's not gonna help any other person who wants to speak up about something because now they see what the reaction's gonna be.
Yeah, for real. It's either you're either big and you're able to ban the person who said it, or you laugh it off, innit?
With the book, with Mice and Men, let's be honest, that's not going to be stopped reading in schools because it's a massive literature piece.
It is a good book. I can recognise good literature.
I feel like I would prefer it instead of teachers letting, like, teachers reading on ahead and being like, look, this page is going to have this word. If anyone's going to say it, at least let it be the teacher. Because I'm not being offended, she's reading it straight from the book. She's trying to teach us. Or he. Whereas I know if someone's running up to read it, or she hasn't picked them, like I know for a fact they're only wanting to read that page for that. So if we're like things like that have got to change. Like don't just let anyone just read that page. It should be yourself reading the page.
And I still don't like. There's so many good pieces of literature. There's so many.
Yeah.
Why that one that has like. There's so many, like it's not even like you're so spoiled for choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can definitely find one that's even better, many times even better. Harry Potter, that's a classic. Do something with Harry Potter, like
so many books to choose from. Yet you'll have To Kill a Mockingbird as well. That's another one that they'll use.
100.
But I'd like to say, like, because Obama had a virtual video conference today, and I have to agree with him with the amount of young people getting involved and stuff like that. I do see things going now are going to start hopefully going in a better direction now. Everyone's like getting involved. It's not just one voice against the many. It's now many voices actually against it's more voices standing up against racism than it is for people who are like supporting it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of beautiful to see the amount of support is getting.
that's what has me actually hopeful, because it's no longer like a contained issue within like blacks or like racism, like Asians, blacks. It's no longer that. It's now like the whole community is like, if agrees with us that it's unacceptable, and it's like not even just agrees, like voicing that it's unacceptable. I think that's what has me like happiest the most. It's like shit, yeah, like the human race is, we can do this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And if you look at it, like, with the reaction that's came, I would say that racism in the world is improving. It's not gone, but it's improving.
yeah,
I would say it's going in the right direction, at least, because when things like this used to happen, there will be excuses that were said, and some of them may be correct. They'll be like, yeah, this and this were a factor, but with this one, there was literally no excuse whatsoever. And I'm
no
glad to
excuse.
see like the whole world just actually came out to say something about this.
For real.
It's especially nice if you're like going on Twitter, scrolling down, seeing your friends being like how upset they would be just having their own friends suffer from racism, even experiencing it. I know personally a friend of mine on my basketball team. He did get it. He got it wrong at the time, but he thought that someone on the other team was saying the N word. And he was like willing to step up, like get himself kicked out the game for his team because he thought it was disgusting that they'd even like say it. He got it at the time. He got it wrong. The guy apologized, saying sorry. It's just his name. His name sounds similar, which obviously so it's not his fault. It's not his fault that his parents named him something similar. He can't help that. But it was not. It's nice to see like how like even your friends are willing to like kick. It's like it was an important game too. Like we're in a cup, and it's nice to see that he was willing to get himself kicked out of a game just because of his teammates, in case like his teammates were for his teammates, even if he was wrong at the time. But it was nice to see.
Yeah. Like I think I remember. I think you were here for this one as well. Like we went up to what club was it? It wasn't here. It was it was a nice one. You know, Unit 7. Is it Unit 7? Yeah. So I'm in Unit 7. I think you were there, or it might have been me, Sim, and Josh. And we're sitting down, and then this and Sim and Josh are talking to this girl, and this white guy who's trying to move to her. As soon as Sim and Josh start talking to her, like she stops paying him attention and focused on them, right? So he gets the hump and whatever, and then starts trying to ride him up, and then he starts saying nigger, and he's like, oh no, I can say that now, whatever. Like he starts saying it, and we were used to this, so we're not gonna react, give him satisfaction, whatever. We're just gonna ignore it.
Yeah.
And there was because we came with us, but then Sim and Josh met up with one of their friends, and she was female, a white female, and she hears this, and immediately she goes and just swings for him. Like I don't condone violence, but like I was like, okay, like you're willing to, like I was like, you know what I'm talking about now, right?
Yeah, I wasn't there, but I heard the story.
Yeah, like things like that. It makes you realize that
there's people out there.
But didn't you get banned from the club for that? Like somebody.
Yeah, I think Sim got banned, and she got banned as well. But the guy who said it, nothing happened to him.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened to him, but yeah, those security let him get away, even though they had it.
No, but like I say, it's nice to see friends and everyone just standing up for it, and it's just lovely to see how the whole community is coming together as one. It's annoying to see the people who are knowingly racist trying to join in, so then they don't get caught out or anything, stuff like that. Like especially with the blacked out Tuesday, probably you scroll down the timeline, and you'd be like, I know he's racist as a person. Like there's no hiding that. But it's nice to see the people supporting. Like I have friends that have been going to who have been protesting as well in the UK, which is nice to see.
Yeah.
but there was this I think that Yo, you guys heard about this block party that happened?
No.
Like in
I've seen that memes about it.
yeah, in London, they decided to have this massive block party in the name of in George Floyd's name and in the name of Black Lives Matter, but there's like 800 people gathering about to just have a party, and they didn't. There was no like protesting. There was nothing of that sort. It was literally just a party. And to top it all off is COVID right now. You're not meant to be meeting up with people, and now you've got about 800 people who are met up on this road to have a party, and they claim it's for the movement. But to me, it just wasn't for the movement. That is,
that's
you just
baiting
wanted
the
to have a
move.
party.
Yeah.
And it just annoyed me to see that, because it's not going to help anyone take the movement seriously if you've got a whole bunch of. And it was literally. I don't think I saw one white person in any of the videos that I saw of it, and it's just like, these are all black people, and now you tell me that you care about racism, but you're gonna go and have this party in the name of preventing racism. But how's that gonna work?
They're just trying to catch wines. Like,
Yeah,
that's not gonna help the future generations, bro.
yeah.
There's a protest happening here, by the way, you guys.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah,
My
sister's going to.
Wow.
Yeah, my sister's going to it.
Okay. I don't know.
I'd love to go to one of the protests. Unfortunately, due to a pandemic, which on YouTube you're actually not allowed to name, I can't. I can't really do it. I'm high risk, so it would be a bit of a worry for me to even like go into an area with a bunch of people, even if I was socially distancing properly.
Yeah.
But this is why this is why we're doing this podcast here, to like let our voices be heard, even if we can't protest. It's a chance to speak how we feel and everything.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed the house for a lot of for a long time, so I'm not about to.
Is there any last words you'd like to say to everyone listening to this?
Stay woke and Black Lives Matter.
Sign petitions and read, educate.
Do your research. Know what the world is about.
Colorism. I feel that's a good topic.
Yeah.
And they will lead you to all the relevant links you should check out.
And if you can't donate, then just sign the petitions like Ben said. Sign them, and then it'll do a lot of good.
All I'd have to say is thank you to everyone putting their, let's be honest, their life on the line out there in America protesting with everything. I'd like to say thank you to all my friends who are supporting this, showing their support against it and thing. And I'd like to say for advice, I know even though every now and then it is a joke, but sometimes you've got to hold your friends accountable for even like racist jokes, just anything racist. Like you've got to hold them accountable now. It's a point where like you may have laughed off the jokes before, but it's a time now where we shouldn't be allowing this stuff to happen. We shouldn't feel uncomfortable just being alive, and we've got to support each other and keep the movement going. So then our kids and everyone else's kids can have a better future.
Amen.
Thank you all for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you all for the next one.